Hi there everyone, it is Wednesday and we are running a little late today. Thank you so much for your patience. As you know, GrowShow always goes out 3 p.m. Wednesday in the UK, 10 a.m. on the east coast of the US, but we've had so many virtual events this week, we've needed to be a teensy-weensy little bit more flexible on our time. So thank you so much to all of you for coming back and seeing us all the time. I'm also kind of curious to see if we make the show a little bit later. Do we get to meet some more of our North American colleagues? At this point, we've now got just a little bit under 25,000 viewers across all of the episodes and across all of the areas that we're streaming. So it means the world to us that you are making a little bit of time inside your day to get some stuff done, to come and join us, to be part of the community and to learn a little bit as well. The show is always interactive, so please do make sure that you keep your comments coming throughout as much as you possibly can. It's a great way for us to get to know you and hear what some of your priorities are. Lovely to have Stephanie joining us here. Thank you for coming in, Stephanie. It's lovely to have you. Frank, it wouldn't be GrowShow without you. Frank is officially a GrowShow groupie. We're going to send him an honorary crown at some point. Karen is joining us as well. And you got to see me in Tampa. Actually, Karen, that was one of the last events that I was able to do before the whole world went crazy. I remember it was a fantastic event with Kelly at CWT. I loved joining you all, even if I did think the hotel was a little weird. It was an odd hotel. But anyway, had a lovely time, and I hope you and all your colleagues are keeping safe. We're working on something for CWT at the moment, so hopefully, Karen, I will see you there. Stevie is coming in as well. Darren, thanks for joining us. And Lynn, you're joining us in the evening. Have you not had enough? You and your friends at McLaren's. It was lovely to meet you all at the event a couple of days ago. So, folks, if you want to let your friends and colleagues know that GrowShow is now live, then share this to your feed. Tag a friend or a colleague in who would like to learn something. In this episode, we are looking at the real science of persuasion. How can we take the real science of how your clients, your colleagues, your customers, leads, and prospects' brain work and use it to hear the word yes more often? Now, we're looking at persuasion. So please don't be turned off if you're not a natural salesperson. Whether or not you don't need to be selling cars to be able to use the material that we're going to be looking at in today's session. So I promise you're going to leave with something that you will be able to use. So whether you need to persuade a colleague or a spouse or a neighbor or a builder, anyone, you will leave with something on this, I promise you. So in this session, we're going to be looking at persuasion. Now, if you have missed any of the previous episodes of GrowShow, then all you need to do is type the word recordings into the comment box. Then tomorrow, when Superstar Team Meade are back in the office, because remember, it's basically bedtime here, then they will make sure that you send you a link to where you can get all of the recordings so you don't miss a single thing. And we are on 14 episodes now. We've looked at persuasion, leadership, mindset, motivation, the psychology of high performance. If you have missed out, you have missed a ton, I promise you. So without further ado, let's get started. Episode 14 of GrowShow is starting now. If you have not joined GrowShow before, you are welcome. My name is David Meade. I work with organizations all across the world on the real science of moving the needle of their performance from good to great. Every episode has proven science-backed psychological tools that will help you grow your business, grow your team, or grow yourself, and we'll have a good time as well, I promise you. It is always driven by you, so remember to join us here every single Wednesday. And in this episode, we're going to look at some great pieces of research inspired by the father of persuasion, Robert Cialdini from Arizona State University. And in this episode, we're going to look at the power of scarcity. It's an extraordinary tool that helps skyrocket your likelihood of hearing the word yes, whether you're trying to persuade a friend or a colleague or sell a product. And the best way for me to tell you how important the scarcity principle is to tell you a little story about my old dad. For years, he loved collecting items, and he collected everything from clocks to hand-painted lady Royal Doulton figurines. No exaggeration, yes, he genuinely did. And he loved things that were limited edition. He felt special about them. He felt like he was building a wonderful collection that he could use in the future to sell as an investment, perhaps to push up his pension or to leave it to us lovely, lucky kids as a nice thing that we could keep as a memento in the future and maybe sell to buy a house or pay for university. He had hundreds of these things, and sadly he passed away in 1996. And my mum and the family were surrounded by all of these ornaments, Toby jugs, really beautiful pieces, I have to say. And 5 years passed, and 10 years passed, and 15 years passed. He's almost gone for 25 years now. And about 10 years ago, my mom and I and a few of our brothers had a conversation and said, gosh, there are so many of these pieces around, we may as well pass them on to someone else who might be able to enjoy them, because they weren't really our thing. There was a huge amount of dusting involved. And as grandkids and young people started to come up in the family, there was also a very real worry that what if any of these things get knocked down and get ruined? So some of these items my dad had spent hundreds on, and a few of them he had spent thousands of pounds on. And this was 25 years ago. So that same price today would have been even bigger. So I went on to eBay expecting to get a small fortune to see how much these items were worth. And some of them that he had spent £800 on, some of them were selling for 20, 25, and £30. I couldn't understand what was wrong. They were limited edition. They were rare. They had certificates of authenticity. That's how you knew they were valuable. But I realized that when I looked into the data, some of them were limited edition, absolutely. But many of them were limited to 5,000 pieces and 10,000 pieces and 25,000 pieces. The fact is, these marketers know that when they put the word limited edition, when they include a certificate of authenticity, this item, no matter what it is, seems rare. It seems scarce. And as human beings, that makes us want it even more. So sorry, Dad, if you are listening out there, your beautiful hand-painted lady Royal Doulton figurines were nowhere near as valuable as you thought, but they used the power of scarcity to make you want to buy them. Another great example of this came from the first time that I ever bought a boom box. That's right, a boom box. I am of that generation, born in 1982. I live in Belfast now, although before the pandemic, I used to travel all across the world. If you want to know what Belfast looked like in 1982, then come here now. It's exactly the same. And the minute that I wanted to buy my first ever tape deck, it had 2 tapes on it, by the way, so I could illegally copy music before Napster was a thing. I went into a Curry's, which was a big electronics store here in the United Kingdom, and I saw one that was at a great price. It was only about £29, and it was huge, and it was big. It had all the bells and whistles. It was 60% off. And I went to the salesman and I said, gosh, would you mind, I'd like to take that. And he said, I'm so sorry. That one is the last one, and we've already sold it. It's been sold to someone else in the store. I was furious at this point. He said, actually, do you know what? Let me speak to the manager. If I can get you another one at that price, would you take it? And I said, yeah, absolutely, I would. He created this sense of scarcity, suggesting that I had already missed out on this amazing deal. He also then used another principle of persuasion. He got some commitment from me to say, well, hey, David, if I can get it for you at this price, would you take it? Absolutely, I would. And lo and behold, he found magically one more in the stockroom. But when he went to get it, the box was damaged, and he said, look, I'll see if our supplier can send us one more. Could you come back another day? I did come back another day. And when I was there, I had a wander around the store because I didn't notice or recognize the salesman that I was looking for. And while I was there, I heard them, different employees, use this same tactic with 3 more people to say that, oh, that one, no, sorry, that one's gone. But if you want, I can see if we've got one more in the stockroom, or if we can get one more from our supplier. If I can, would you be happy to take it? This scarcity principle makes us move to action. It makes us want to commit to something, because psychologically, less is more. When there are fewer of an item available, then we are ever more attracted to say yes to whatever that thing is. And this is one of the great examples that we've probably all encountered, but never really considered it in the context of the pandemic. Because as items became fewer, and fewer in supply on our shelves, we wanted and desired it even more. Panic buying creates panic buying because less of a thing makes that thing significantly more attractive. Another really famous experiment that other researchers have carried out, but some friends of mine and I tested ourselves for fun once. We did a survey in a supermarket with 2 jars of cookies. Now, they were labeled differently and displayed differently. And one was a really full jar and one was a pretty empty jar. There was only 3 or 4 cookies left in it. And we had a simple request of shoppers who were wandering by. We wanted you to taste each of them and tell us, rate it and score it in terms of flavour, texture, crumbliness, sweetness, and would you like to have another one? And if you did, you could take another one from the jar that you favoured most. Now, the really interesting thing was there were 2 jars, one was very full, one had few left. That created the notion, the sensation, and the expectation in the mind of the customer. Well, that one that's got less in it, maybe people think that one's tastier and perhaps I will as well. And overwhelmingly, the jar that had fewer biscuits in it was rated as being tastier, crunchier, crumblier, better flavour, better texture. It won on across the board every single time. And that was the one that they said, yes, I'll have another cookie. The hilarious thing was, and you're probably one step ahead of me, they were both exactly the same cookie, taken from the same packets and the same store, simply put into different jars that were labelled differently. Because scarcity changes the way that we see and experience the products around us. I remember when I was first starting my business as a keynote speaker years ago, I used the scarcity principle, and you can as well. I had left my job as an academic, as a full-time lecturer, and I can assure you, I spent most of my days sitting in my underpants on the sofa watching Homes Under the Hammer and other wasteful daytime shows. And if the phone rang from a customer and they would say, oh, David, we're interested in having you speak at our conference, whatever their date was, they would say, oh, David, it's the 11th of November. I would sit on the phone flicking through a Sears catalogue or an Argos catalogue and saying, gosh, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think I can make that day work. Would any other day work for you? And they said, like, no, that's our conference day. We can't move it. And I would say, oh, I'm so sorry. It looks like I've already got something in there. But look, if that date frees up, would you like me to secure it for you? And they always said, oh, yes, yes, yes. Please put me down as first reserve. Now, the truth is, there was nothing in my diary. I was incredibly free 15 years ago. Starting out as a keynote speaker is a very difficult business to build. But nonetheless, that worked reasonably well, and invariably I called them up a day or two later and said, great news, it turns out I can make your event work. And this made it significantly easier for me to book brand new business. And of course, for those of you who work in the retail space, you'll know this is why special offers are often placed prominently at the end of an aisle. But be careful about this. Some evidence shows that if you put the special offers at the end of the aisle and stack the shelves in a bountiful manner, it becomes less attractive. In an ideal world, you only want 1 to 2/3 of maximum capacity on that shelf because it should look like customers have been grabbing it and are already incredibly interested in it. For years, I've had a theatre tour that travels all across the country. Last year alone, we sold 10,000 tickets in just a few months. And often, brand new performers who are coming onto the scene, want to create their own tour, say to me, David, gosh, how did you manage to build your tour to be so big? Now, the truth is, if I'm being really honest, when I look at the reality of the world today, I'm not sure I will ever tour again, but it took a long time to build it up to be as successful as it was. And scarcity is one of the tactics that I use to increase those sales and secure those bums on seats. So here's what I did. I realized that when people in September logged on to the theatre's website and saw lots and lots of green seats, even though the show was in January, they said, well, there's lots of seats there. No sense in us buying our tickets today. We don't need to commit to it. I'll check it out in November or December just to make sure that we're absolutely free. People were saying to themselves, well, there is an abundance of availability, so I don't really need to commit to anything right now. So what we started to do was take whole areas of the theatre and block them out. Make those seats grey on the chart so that it looked like there was only maybe 20 to 30 seats available at any given time. And then when a person logged on and they said, gosh, darling, honey, there's only a small number of seats left. We should probably commit to this now to make sure that we don't miss out on David's brand new show. And every week we went in and released progressively more and more and more seats. We've used that technique for 10 years, and I honestly think it's one of the backbones of why our tour has sold so well over that last decade. And retailers use this even outside of the store. Abercrombie and Fitch were famous all across the world for years for creating queues outside their store. And the reason this, there were a number of reasons why this was powerful. There is another technique that we've looked at called herd mentality, social proof, or consensus. It shows lots of people clearly like this brand, so we should be considering shopping there as well. But another thing, another psychological technique that is closely linked to this is the scarcity principle, that they only let so many people into the store every hour and every day. So if I want to get in, well, I better get into that queue. Now look, does anyone really think that they don't have more space inside the store? Of course they do. But the scarcity principle is that potent and that powerful. So how can we use it? Well, of course, in the first instance is think about your products. If you're a product-based business, how can you limit the number and availability of those to increase the desirability of them? But if that is not the case, then perhaps you're in professional services or an advice-based business, then consider creating a deadline of some sort. Now, don't create a fake deadline because that compromises the authenticity and the quality of the relationship. But scarcity exists not only in terms of volume, but also in terms of dates and diary availability as well. Put simply, the easiest way for me to summarize this to you is to have you ask yourself, what are the unique features or benefits of your product or service that no one else in your space offers? Because if you can't limit the number, and you can't limit the diary availability, then take scarcity of offering and use that as well. Say that there is nowhere else in the world that you can get this. There is no one else in this region that you can get this level and quality of service. And that is a really potent way of bringing that alive for your customers. Put simply, unique and uncommon benefits or decreasing availability makes products and services dramatically more attractive. And be careful to try and make sure that you do this always in an honest, transparent, and authentic way wherever possible. Now, some people say, well, look, we're not in the product business, so I'm not sure we can use this. There is always an opportunity. There are endless chances for you to use the scarcity principle, I promise you. For instance, I worked with a telecoms company, and they were struggling to get brand new customers to commit to moving over to their telecoms provider. So what we did was, when someone called up and inquired about the pricing, when they were happy with the cost and realized that they could save a little bit of money moving, but then the issue came when it comes to them signing on the bottom line, it seems like a lot of hassle to switch telecoms provider. So here's a simple technique that we used. On the telephone, we encouraged the salespeople to say, well, the only thing is, I know you can save money if you move over to us, so that is great news, but we've only got 2 installation slots left next week. We've got nothing left this week, 2 installation slots left next week, and only 1 the week after that. So if you want to start saving money straight away, we really should get you booked in for a slot. Now, here's the surprising thing about that, is if for any reason there are more slots available than your salesperson is choosing to let your customer know about, then it means you can delight them by actually getting that installed a little earlier. Another great example that is used in the software space is grandfather pricing. So in other words, saying to a customer that next month our pricing is going up. So if you want to make sure that you secure forever and grandfather yourself into the existing low pricing, then you need to do it today. It creates that sense of scarcity and that time is running out, I need to make sure that I get it. And regardless of what your industry is, consider the diary discipline that I talked about in my own business. Let's say you work in the insurance industry, or you're a solicitor or a lawyer of some sort, and someone calls up and said, hey, I want to catch up with you. I need your advice on a sensitive matter. And you say, yeah, absolutely. Let's say it's Monday. And you say, okay, today's Monday. Well, I'm looking at the diary. I'm totally free Tuesday through Friday, and I'm free every day next week. That doesn't make you look like a very successful, very proficient, very in-demand professional inside your space. So consider using that diary discipline to get more attractiveness and increase your likelihood of attracting new customers. Scarcity works in so many different ways, and I've seen a great example of a retailer that is using it to offload stock. Now, let me tell you the story of Filene's running brides. This is an amazing phenomenon where Filene's Basement, they're one of the famous North American retailers, and every year they end up with a huge oversupply of wedding dresses that no one wants, no one buys because they're out of season, they're the odd sizes, or for whatever reason the style simply doesn't fit. So once a year, they host an event called Running with the Brides. And what they do is they sell these dresses at extraordinary knockdown prices to the point where people are queuing outside for hours and days in some cases. And they are so keen to buy one of these dresses. I'm quite confident many of them aren't even married, engaged, or even in a relationship. But they hear that the deal is on, that the supply is so scarce that they want to make absolutely certain that they don't miss out. Look at this video. It's absolute carnage. Within 90 seconds, thousands of dresses have been ripped off the shelves. Now, my question to you is, how can you use this scarcity principle in an authentic way, and in a way that demonstrates integrity? Oh, I truly think this is one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. I mean, bless them. Like I said, most of them are single, don't even have a partner. So how can you use scarcity to make your service more attractive? How can you use scarcity to increase the speed at which you can close your contracts? I think it's really important that we consider this. It's one of the easiest ones that you can use. And if you'd like to find out more information about this principle, then read any of the work by Robert Cialdini. His seminal book called Influence covers it in great depth. And there are loads of examples out there of how you can use it. Remember the last time you logged on to buy an airline seat and it said that 6 people are already looking at this seat? Are they really, truly? Remember the last time you logged on to Amazon and they said that there's only 2 items of these left in stock? Really? Do you really think that Amazon, one of the largest organizations in the world, has only 2 of anything in stock? These principles are incredibly powerful and you should be using them in your business as well. So before we choose our winner, because remember, every episode, we give away some GrowShow swag to any of our commenters. So if you have left a comment of any kind during the episode, then you might get picked momentarily. So there is still time to win, so feel free to leave a comment. And if you want to stay in touch with us, then please do. Remember to follow me on LinkedIn and you'll get notifications of every brand new episode. We also put the show out. We live stream it on YouTube. So click subscribe there and ring the bell if you'd like to get a notification, and click like on Facebook too. We're going to be announcing our winner shortly, so stay tuned in just about 30 seconds. But before I do let me know if you are hosting any virtual events for your team. We are now doing 5 virtual events a week for our clients that work in the banking space, in the travel space, in the IT and the software space. We make them really fun, really engaging, and really interactive. It's an incredible way to bring your team together. Even when they're working at home, they will learn something that will help your business. We've done events for all of these customers in just the last few months. They will learn something, they'll laugh, and they'll have a good time as well. Here's some of the feedback that our clients have given us. Hi everyone, my name is David Meade. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us during this live and interactive masterclass.
The feedback that we had is the best that I've seen for any webinar. It was the biggest audience we've ever had by far.
I haven't been to, a virtual event like it. I certainly haven't laughed as much in any virtual event.
As human beings, we live up to and down to our own expectations of our own performance. Convince yourself that you can, will, might, must, or should, and it comes out in everything that you do.
His enthusiasm, his style, it immediately engages the audience.
And I think what David really offers is he genuinely cares.
And I guarantee you will leave this session with practical and actionable tools and techniques that you'll be able to apply and employ straight away.
Engaging.
Interactive.
Full of energy.
I genuinely believe that virtual events can be amazing. They can be fun. They can be interactive. I've been so lucky to do almost 100 of them now since February, which is hard to believe. And we work really hard to make sure that your team are brought into the experience. It's not just a webinar or a video where they are spoken at. It's a real conversation with your team. So if you are having an internal meeting on Zoom, on MS Teams, on WebEx, whatever it might be, drop me a line. I would love to come and inspire your team. Now, let's go over to some of the comments. Who have we got? Scotty said, got to see you in the milestone. Scotty, that's a long time ago. So it was. Aaron is coming in and said, David, I'm currently looking to invest. What is better value right now, Pokemon or Bitcoin? Aaron, call your care worker. Next up, we got Paul Cunningham. Hope all well with you and family. Paul, good to see you. You as well. Daryl is saying, interesting concept regarding offers on end of shelves. Yes, the more scarce that an item is, the more we want to pick it up. So really important for you to keep an eye on that. Karen is saying she's seen restaurants using this technique as well. Yeah, it's a really strong technique that we can use in many different industries. Hello, Lorraine, coming in from Belfast. Lorraine, I'm in Belfast. I'm in Hollywood here. If you want to leave me up a cup of tea, please, before bed. Daryl has come to see the show in Coleraine and Limavady. I know, Daryl, I'm a really cheeky sod. Coleraine is one of my favourite venues, by the way. It's got a real wraparound. You feel very close to the audience. And I'm a big fan of Limavady, or as I like to call it, Lima Vegas. Aaron is saying classic Meade there. Let's see. Lynn is saying that she's seen this on booking.com. Yep, many places use it. Robert, thanks for tuning in again. Lovely to see you. And let's choose someone at random now. So I'm going to look away while I get someone. I'm going to look away. And I'm going to scroll up and down. And this person, Stevie Dunseith. Stevie, thank you for tuning in. You have won some GrowShow swag. So Stevie, drop me a direct message on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever it is. I think you're watching on Facebook. Drop me a little direct message and I will make sure that we send you out some stuff. So folks, it's been lovely to see you again. Long time no see. Tell me in the comments, what do you think? Do you like these coming a little bit later in the day? Do you prefer it in the day? Now remember, our usual time is 3 p.m. in the UK, 10 a.m. Eastern for our friends and customers who tune in from the US. But is later a little bit better? I know that we don't really get many viewers from the west coast of the US, even though tons of my customers and my events are there because it's so early in the morning. But do you like these a little bit later? This is 8 p.m. in the UK. For those of you in the UK, what are you doing? Are you watching TV? Why are you watching this at this time of night? Surely you should be, I don't know, chatting with your friends and things. But yeah, so let me know. Look, if the evenings work, we will keep doing it in the evenings. And by the way, we've got big plans for GrowShow coming. Really big plans. And those plans will allow you to get directly involved in the show, not just in the comments, but to come on screen as well. In the future, we're planning a series of interviews with thought leaders who will really inspire you to do extraordinary things in your work every day, number one. But also, we're going to give you, the viewer, the opportunity to come into the show and ask us questions. We're working on it really hard at the moment. So if there is a business challenge that you're working on and you would like my advice on the psychology of how to do a better job, how to solve that problem, then start cooking that around inside your head and we will let you know what we're going to do with that really, really soon. Okay, everybody. Wow, I've just noticed someone is called Cherry Love. Cherry, you've got the greatest name I've ever heard. Cherry, you immediately, I don't care where you work, Cherry. I don't care what you do. Drop everything now and start writing romance novels or start a dating platform of some sort. Alan is saying later is a little better. No, that's okay. Bernie is saying, Bernie, good to see you. Bernie is saying later as well. Let's see. Aaron, let me see what is later is being better. Aaron Butler is saying 8 a.m. please for the drive to work. He gets into his go-kart and drives to the shed at the bottom of his yard. Okay, let me see. Paul is saying that for us in the UK, I feel better at this time due to working during the day. Okay, cool. Actually, everyone is agreeing that later seems to work well. Karen is saying that this worked for me. I'm on PT in the US, Pacific time. Guys, I'm really surprised. I did not think that you would like the show to come in this late in the evening, but this is lovely. Well, look, lovely to spend the evening with you. Maybe we'll start doing these a little bit later then. I do need a favor, though. Please do me a favor. Please help us grow GrowShow by telling your friends, telling your colleagues, maybe sharing it with your team at work. I promise you, every single episode has got something in there that you will use to help you grow your business, grow your team, and grow yourself. I cannot wait to see you all. Keep your comments coming underneath because I always read them, and I'll see you back here next week for another episode of GrowShow.